What's up, mortals? It's Date from the anime Underworld, and today we do not have a chapter. We are on break because it's Golden Week in Japan, but hey, I figured I'd use this break to get a little creative with this video. A lot of twists and turns and epic fights await us now that we are back to focusing on the 4 Nights of the Apocalypse. So I wanted to use this time and video to talk about what might be in store for us in the future. But before we begin, if you love 7 Deadly Sins and 4 Nights of the Apocalypse material, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below about what you think is going to happen next time once we're back on the weekly releases. And stay tuned for more content coming your way very soon. Before we talk about the future, let's talk about what's already happened so far in the story. We spent about 10 chapters or so 10 weeks, of the remaining 7 Deadly Sins members facing the fake King Arthur, who in actuality was Cath Returns, the living embodiment of malice. This resulted in plenty of good, but not without some drawbacks. As Bond was aged so rapidly, his internal organs are shutting down, and Queen Elizabeth being placed in a semi-permanent coma after she sacrificed her well-being via perfect time to rescue everyone, friends and citizens, from Cath's bloodlust. All of this, all of the sacrifice, was to give the 4 Nights of the Apocalypse time to find Merlin in the Forsaken Realm of Camelot, in order to find the key to defeating chaos. Things were rather easy for the 4 Knights at first, only facing a couple of straggler Chaos Knights who were still in the realm and refused to believe that their noble and generous king was a demonic cat, and realizing that Gawain was essentially leading them blind. But then the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse faced a mysterious group of 5 masked individuals, who each had some sort of very familiar power. We had an invisible archer with some knowledge of fairy poisons, a swordsman or swordswoman who fights like Anne, a bird knight with goddess clan wings, a mage with freakishly long arms, and someone who could go toe to toe with Lancelot. Yeah, at this point of recording, the strangest enemies that the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse are facing right now are their children from the future. Somehow, in this crazy land, the 5 Grail Knights were sent by King Arthur, I put in quotes, to pull a Terminator. Or, I guess in this case, reverse back to the future because they're trying to prevent themselves from being born? I don't know. So Gawain's future adopted daughter Lywarsh is hunting her younger mother down, while she, in return, is also looking for Merlin, aka Lywarsh's grandmother. Gotta hate time travel, but this is gonna be one crazy family reunion. The 4 Knights of the Apocalypse did find where Merlin was hiding. She was hiding inside of the legendary Twisted Tower, something that Percival's grandfather supposedly knew about. I still question how he actually knew about that, but nonetheless, they found where Merlin was hiding, and after several failed attempts, all of them leading back to the front entrance, Gawain was the key to leading them into the right direction, right into an invisible death maze. And then, again thanks to Gawain, she led them straight through the invisible death maze. And unfortunately for them, Gawain also led them to a room where the only way out is to fight the revived Escanor during the daytime at his absolute peak.
Everybody got that?
So if you haven't been watching my videos, which you absolutely should if you're a 7 Deadly Sins fan, this is what's been going on in the story so far. We have the starter of the arc, but what will await us at the end of it? How do we get from point A to point Z? I posted a poll asking you all what you were looking forward to the most, and it seems like you all were excited for the 4 Knights obtaining some sort of power-up. I can understand that since the 4 Knights haven't really gotten anything close to a standard 7 Deadly Sins style power-up. Well, with the Grail Knights hunting them down and the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse in desperate need of some power-ups, well, I say, por qué no los dos? The 5 Grail Knights have traveled to right a wrong, and they have to do it. It is a hero rule after all.
Hero rule number 88. If a hero hears there's a wrong to right, he's got to right that wrong, right?
Wrong. I mean right.
Alright, the big twist I'm trying to explain here is what if the 5 Knights weren't sent to stop their younger parents, but to help them get stronger? The Grail Knights have foreshadowed that the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse will be 10 to 100 times stronger in the future. Not just Lancelot, but the other 4 Knights as well. Perhaps the wrong that needs to be right is speeding up the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse's power progression up a notch. So, not pulling a Terminator, but rather a Kessler from Infamous. If you're a fan of those video games, you know what I'm talking about. The first of the 4 to get their own power-up isn't from facing their own child, but rather their own dad. Gawain and the other 4 Knights of the Apocalypse must face the Lion Sin of Pride, revived from the dead thanks to Merlin. Okay, I should have explained this last week, but I was just so tired. I didn't have time to add it on to the video, you gotta understand me. So I figured I might as well just add it in here. As of this recording, the debate online is that this is not really the real Escanor, but rather a chaos-created imitation of the real deal based on Merlin's desires. So this could be the Escanor that Merlin wants deep down inside of her heart, that the forces of chaos inside Camelot have created for her. And she's using this one as a guard dog because we know where the real Escanor is. He's inside his weird dinosaur dragon skeleton body thing in Leonis. The others are debating that this is Escanor in some sort of new body that Merlin made, but no, I don't think so. Regardless, this is still going to be an amazing fight once we get back to the weekly releases. I know the main focus is going to be Gawain versus her dad, but I wouldn't mind seeing how long Lancelot lasts against daytime Escanor though. The strongest members of their individual groups clashing against one another would be awesome. Can Hazy Moon withstand Sunshine's power? Or can Lancelot's own strength be even capable of doing any sort of damage to the Lion Sin at all? We might get that, but we can't forget that this fight is all about Gawain. With how far Gawain has gotten with her Sunshine-like power Dawn and her skills as a mage, which is what Merlin is testing, Gawain is going to have more of an edge.
Boo this man! No!
Okay, hear me out. This version of Escanor could have more moves and spells that Gawain doesn't know about yet related to Sunshine, but Gawain also has more knowledge of magical spells. Gawain can fight this fake Escanor with additional non-Sunshine related moves to give her a tactical edge, mixed with Escanor's fighting prowess. This might be a Camelot created fake, so the power might be a very, very pale imitation, but it'll be enough to test and push Gawain for the real deal. And she's going to win for obvious reasons. If Gawain is to get herself a proper power-up, it'll be by proving that she's not just Merlin's daughter, but Escanor's as well. More Sunshine-related power-ups, plus Merlin's advanced magical knowledge, heck yes. No wonder Lywarsh calls Gawain the most powerful mage of all time. That just leaves the 5 Grail Knights and the other 3 Knights of Prophecy to get some attention. For each fight, I predict that there's going to be a battle between the teenage parent and the yet-to-be-born child, all of which will result in the former getting some sort of new power-up and maybe a small hint of what their future counterparts are like. This will not only hint to us readers what things are like in the future, remember, the future isn't set in stone, but provides an opening for the guys to expand on what they know and what they already have. Speaking of already knowing things, the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse would be very familiar with whatever the Grail Knights have learned from their parents. I mean, it's their moveset. If the Knights of Prophecy uncover this, they could give us readers some new movesets and strategies, so it's not just the same repetitive movesets we've seen a million other times. For the first round of matchups, I would suggest our star boy Tristan versus his future son, Ysaye. Again, I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing these names. I'm sorry, Wales. The Knight of Plague has a good few setups for us already. That is, if Nakaba decides to f***ing show us. Much like Tristan at the start of the series, Ysaye is much more reliant on his Goddess Clan powers. Even though I think these powers should be weaker because of genetics or something, I don't know. This would give Tristan the chance to show off his new sense of control over his demonic half. Before leaving Camelot, Tristan trained with Meliodas on controlling his demonic power. So to fight off against another goddess, he's gonna have to fight like a demon. This control could provide Tristan a way to balance out his holy and unholy lineages. I've said this before, I'll say it again, for I don't know how many times, but Tristan's whole character development and power progression is about using both of his lineages' power at once. Nova is that power, but we haven't seen it properly. This new sense of control and the proper use of Nova all could lead to Tristan obtaining his own transformation into the Nephilim Prince of the Stars. Nakaba cooked with assault mode in perfect time. What the heck is stopping him from giving us a Tristan assault mode, damn it? Just give us Tristan Junkies the hit we desperately crave. So Nova, fusion of light and darkness, yada yada yada. I've explained this so many other times on my other videos. Another note to add is that Tristan might unleash his new sacred treasure, a sword possibly called Fail Not. I've heard many people say that the sword that Tristan has in this shot is just one of his old swords remade because one got lost and the other got destroyed. But if you have f***ing Dubs in Leonis, the guy who wanted to make a weapon for Lancelot, why not make a weapon for a Nephilim? I really want to see what Dubs has cooked up for Tristan in the kitchen. At least Tristan has to face one kid. Percival has to face two. To protect their future father's honor, Percival is going to have to face off against his own future children, which he just conceived a couple of days ago. Lohengrin, his daughter with Anne, and Kardei, his son with Naciens. I theorize Percival is going to be the first one to put it all together that he's fighting his future children, when they start using more familiar moves and spells that Percival is all too familiar with. Guardian is going to be the biggest giveaway for that fact. And finally, there's Lancelot versus Galahad for his future reveal and possible power-up. Galahad and Lancelot are equal in terms of physical strength and speed. Those Purgatory Bond genes really did not dilute in the gene pool, did they? If Lancelot can't beat Galahad in fisticuffs, otherwise it would look like this.
Dear sir, I respectfully urge you to prepare yourself for one devil of a skirmish.
Then the only other way for the God of War to beat the Son of War is via a battle of magical skill. Daisy Moon can get some attention, and Lancelot can use it in a more creative way. Did we all forget how Lancelot trained Percival in the Demon Realm arc? Much like Tristan, the God of War could already have with him, or will receive, his sacred treasure, which is a spear, because lances. If the giant craftsman already made this weapon for him, and Lancelot is just waiting to pull it out at the right time, I would love to know what magical power he gave it to complement Lancelot's insane ability. Not gonna lie, I keep imagining this happening to Galahad once Lancelot whips out his spear. All of these power-ups, new weapons, trials, and tribulations are necessary because the four Knights of the Apocalypse have to remember why they're in Camelot to begin with. They were reminded that the King Arthur they thought they were going to have to face was not Arthur Pendragon, but instead it was Cath who is no longer in Britannia and is probably now back in Camelot licking his wounds and getting ready for round 2. The 7 deadly sins did a number on the usurper of chaos, but this furry chaotic son of a bitch is still out there. The best the 7 deadly sins could do was mentally scar him and give him a Vietnam flashback every time he decided to do anything against Britannia. Oh, and another reminder, he ate Merlin's doll, which gave him a, scent or a trail that he needs to hunt down Merlin. Cath is gonna find them one way or the other. Lancelot might be 7 deadly sins level, but even Meliodas had a hard time with Cath Paulug. The other Knights of Prophecy need a 7 deadly sins level power up, and they needed it years ago. It's only a matter of time before the usurper of chaos finds them and finds Arthur along with them. If that little furball gets the remaining amount of chaos that Arthur has inside him, this could be bad, because there's nothing more dangerous than a dumbass with ultimate power. And it'll be up to the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse to get strong enough to prevent Cath Paulug from awakening a true living hell. What do you think is going to happen in the new chapter once we're back to these weekly releases? It's been a nice break. This video has been fun. Let me know about what you think about these theories, what awaits the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse and the 5 Grail Knights in the future chapter releases. Let me know in the comments, give this video a like, subscribe if you're a 7 Deadly Sins fan and you're enjoying the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse manga. We'll be out with more content very soon. This has been Dante from the Anime Underworld, and I'll see you mortals later.